Well, hello there. This is Tony from Ephraim International, and I want to continue today talking about our series that we started a few weeks ago, titled Holiness, Righteousness, and Selfishness. So we spent the last couple of weeks going through some introductions, and we talked about holiness. And so what I want to do this week is get into this thing called righteousness. And although in the scriptures it can be synonymous with holiness, okay, I guess maybe just makes the title sound better, but it's still talking about the basics here, okay, which what I mean by saying that is obeying God, okay. What does he want us to do to get us to a place where he can bless us, where he can not only bless us but protect us. Yeshua talked about us being a city on a hill. Okay, well, what does that mean? It means that we stand out. Okay, so we're going to go through a lot of scriptures today, primarily in the book of Psalms, some in Proverbs, because there's just a lot in there. There's a lot in there that we just can't ignore, because it's, in this case, David or maybe Solomon just pounding and pounding on the point of living a certain way that God prescribed for his people ever since Sinai. And in fact, even before then, the days of Adam down to Enoch, okay, Noah, okay, the message has been the same. And not only has it been the same, but it hasn't even changed today. The message is still the same. Okay, so let's start off, and we're going to turn to the very first book of Psalms. Okay, like I said, just a lot of good stuff in here. Psalms 1, verse 1. Psalms 1, verse 1, it says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord," the Torah, "and in his law doth he meditate day and night." It don't like something that's been. It doesn't sound like something that's been done away with. Okay, it sounds like something not only God wants us to look at, but he wants us to meditate on it day and night. And what's the result of that? Well, let's keep reading. "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper." Shall prosper. Hey, I'll sign up for that. Whatever I'm going to do is going to prosper? Wow. That don't sound like something that sounds like bondage to me, does it? So if he's meditating on the law day and night, okay, like I say, he's going to prosper. It says he shall prosper. So the more that the law of God is in your head, the more likely you're going to prosper. But number two, the less likely that you're going to sin. Okay, and this is the focus of our teaching here. When you're living righteously, the more you live righteous, the less you live a life of sin. Okay, so we're trying to get to a point where this side is up, and as this side goes up, this side by default is going to go down. Okay, verse 4, "The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous." I like the Hebrew sometimes, the way it puts it. You're going to find sometimes in Scripture where God is going to say the same thing two different ways. And this is a good example in verse 5 here. "For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish." Well, brother, that's the Old Testament. Yeah, but like I keep saying, that law that we keep talking about pertains today. Why? Because it defines what righteousness is. If you throw the law away, you throw the ability for us to define what holiness is. Okay, and obviously, any good Christian would say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Of course we need to have a standard for what righteousness is. Amen. And that's what we're trying to get to. Okay, like I keep saying before, receiving Yeshua, Jesus Christ, into your heart as your personal Lord and Savior is only the beginning of the matter. Okay, what does that mean? Well, we're just avoiding the second death. Okay, we're entering into eternal life, receiving our resurrected bodies. But the question is, what are you going to do in the meantime? Because if all God wanted it was for us to be saved from eternal damnation, then he would have just taken us up out of here the day that we accepted Christ, right? But obviously we're still here. So obviously he wants us to do something, okay? And what I would suggest to you is that he wants us to live a holy life. Because frankly, come day of judgment, this is what we're going to get judged by. When the books are opened, right, the judgment seat of Christ, okay, what did you do? What did you not do? Did you keep my word? Okay, and these are the kind of things that he's going to go through with us. And, woe to them that think that, the standards of righteousness is not applicable anymore. It just doesn't make any sense. Psalm 34:1. Psalm 34:1. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Is his praise continually in your mouth? Is it in my mouth? Okay? Questions that we need to ask ourselves. Verse 2, my soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name forever. I remember growing up reading songs that had these verses in them. They were great. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. They looked unto him, and they were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. The poor man cried, and the Lord heard him, and saved him out of all his troubles. Okay, so it's very simple. If you do this, I will do that. Okay, this is God speaking. If you don't do this, then I can't do that. Okay, so this is the whole flux of keeping his commandments. If you notice, reading in the Torah, he talks about it. There's always that big 2-letter word if. If you do this. And some of us seem to skip those 2 words and go straight to the blessing. And we forgot about the first part. Verse 7, the angel of the Lord encampeth around them that fear him, and delivereth them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. O fear the Lord, ye his saints, for there is no want to them that fear him. Again, I just finished doing a series a month ago on the fear of God. Okay? And as we can see how everything all intertwines together, right? Because the fear of God will cause a man to turn away from his sin, and in turn walk in this thing that we're calling holiness and righteousness. Verse 10, the young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. I mean, I don't think God can make things more clear than he's making them right now. Okay? And how are they seeking him? It says seek him. They're seeking him by walking what? In holiness and righteousness, and then, and only then, he'll take care of us. Verse 11, come, ye children, hearken unto me, I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Absolutely. What man is he that desires life and loveth many days, that he may see good? Keep thy tongue from evil, and thy lips from speaking guile. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. Okay? And, I know I mentioned this before, and some people don't want to hear this, but that's the reason why most people's prayers are not even heard, let alone answered by God. Why? Because he only hears the prayers of the righteous, those who walk in holiness. Okay? So, yeah, but I'm a Christian. That's great. But what are you doing in your life to making sure that you're pleasing him? Again, I keep saying this, but accepting Christ is the first step. Okay? You just avoided eternal damnation into the lake of fire. And in the end, that's going to be everything. But what are you doing? What are you doing to give yourself a good place in this coming kingdom? And that's what this is all about. Not only that, what are you doing for God's protection on your life on this earth? Okay, so these benefits are twofold. They're not only good for living your life on earth and the benefits that it provides, but also in the afterlife. Okay? Verse 16, the face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. Okay, like on that day, guys, I don't want to be on that side. I don't want to be on that side of those who do evil. And I realize most of us are not committing evil acts on purpose. I get it. Okay, but there's also a lack of knowledge that we need to understand. The Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And some believers just don't understand the importance of doing all that he commands us. And I realize all the commandments are not applicable these days because of reason of there's no temple, okay? Not everyone are Levitical priests. Not everyone is a woman. Not everyone is a thief, okay? So obviously all the commands don't apply to everyone, okay? But what does apply, we need to seek after that. We can't just write things off and say, okay, well, that doesn't apply anymore. I'm just going to do what I feel right in my heart. Well, that sounds very, very nice, okay? But we still need to be taught. And the fact of the matter is we don't know everything. And until we get to that place where we do know everything on that day, we're going to have to learn and seek him with a whole heart. Okay? Verse 17, the righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. I mean, isn't that what we want? Especially when these days are coming upon us, that the Bible says is like no other. Don't we want to be in a position where the Lord is going to deliver us and our families out of these times of the mark of the beast? Okay? In whatever form that is, maybe a vaccine or something like that. It's going to come to a point where it's going to be the world versus the believers. And we're going to want to be prepared for that. Verse 18, the Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth them out of them all. He keepeth all his bones, and not one of them is broken. Now we all know that this is a prophecy of Messiah, when he hung on the cross and not his bones were broken. But notice the theme of this is the word all. Okay, like even the last verse we read, he's going to deliver them out of all. Okay, so God is going to find a way. He's going to make sure that those angels, like we read before, are encamped round about you, because they're the ones that God uses as his agents to save us out of all these troubles. Whether it's people that are wanting to loot your home, they're going to walk by your street and think, oh my gosh, God is going to confuse them and think that they've already looted your home. Okay, again, God can do anything. He can do anything, guys. We need to have that mindset. We're going to have to, like, if we want to survive, some of us. Verse 21, even evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate. The Lord redeemeth the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him. Oh, I lost my place. Give me a second here. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. And none of them that trust in him shall be desolate. Okay? So again, he's going to take care of his kids. I mean, this is an underlying theme here, which I love. Okay? We're not doing this for nothing. God is actually going to watch out over us. And we're going to keep reading here. Let's go to the 23rd Psalm, and most of us know this Psalm. Maybe some of us know this off by heart. Okay? But again, it's just going to add to the theme here. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Well, I get all these promises because I'm a Christian, right? Not necessarily. Okay? David, King David, who wrote this, he walked in holiness. He walked in righteousness. Okay, so again, there are benefits to this kind of a life that one leads that focuses on what? Keeping his commandments. Psalm 37:1. Gosh, this is good stuff here. Fret not thyself because of the evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. Now, how can we be envious of those workers of iniquity? Think about it. We say sometimes, well, look at them. They're having a good time. They're sinning and doing their thing. Okay, well, that's fine. But let's keep reading here. For they shall be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Okay, so like I said in a different portion of another teaching, I said before that the problem with sin is that sin has a payday. There is nobody on the face of the earth that is going to be exempt from what I just said. Now, the payday might not come every Friday at 4 o'clock, but it's going to come. Payday is going to come. The day of the evil, they're going to have their day. Okay, and we're going to read after where it says that God's going to laugh at them. Okay, like I like saying before, God is going to be last to the party, and He's going to have His say. He's going to have the last laugh. He's going to have the last word, and we can take that to the bank. Okay, rest assured, my brothers and sisters. Now, like I said before, just because, back with the sin business, just because that we're forgiven of our sin, we're still going to have to pay for it. Even though lightning didn't strike a foot from us after we sinned. And as humans, we seem to forget, because that didn't happen, we think that, okay, you know what? God must have sneezed when I sinned, so He probably didn't notice. So, I got away with that one. Okay? And, some people might go as far as saying, well, you know what? I sinned. But you know what? Jesus paid for my sins. Yes, He paid for you to avoid that second death, to enter into the kingdom. But as long as you're on the earth, as long as you have flesh and blood, you still have to pay for it over here. Okay? The eternal ramifications are gone. And, thank God for that, right? But we're still going to have to, what do you mean by paying for the sins? Well, it means that you're going to have to wait longer for your healing, maybe. You're going to have to wait longer to get your prayer answered. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Because your sin is going to get in the way of God blessing you, healing you. That's always been the barrier. Always. And it's no different today. Okay? Psalm 37. Well, we'll keep going. Verse 3. Trust in the Lord and do good, and shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. I mean, we focus on the second part of this verse where it says, and He shall give you the desires of thy heart. But I think sometimes we forget the first part about delighting thyself in Him. Well, what's it mean to delight yourself in Him? It means that you're just wrapped up and tied up with Him 24/7. Okay, always trying to do what He wants you to do. How am I missing it, Lord? Where did I go wrong in this situation here yesterday when this happened? Okay, always self-evaluating. Verse 5, commit thy way unto the Lord, and trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. Okay, again, what's His way? What's the way? The way of holiness. He only has one way. The problem is that we trust God for the blessings, right? And I'm talking about people listening here, people in the church. But do we trust God for the curses too? Well, I've never heard that before. Well, guess what? If there's blessings, there's curses. If there's life, there's death. And just because you're a Christian, you are not exempt from the bad side of this. Okay? Again, like I said, there's a punishment for sins. Choose life, choose death. Choose blessings, choose curses. And, the great thing about God is that he made this very clear in the Torah. Verse 6, Psalm 37. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. Don't worry about those guys. Because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. Okay, so God's like, just focus on doing the good. Don't worry about the bad guys, the evildoers. Their day is coming. Payday is coming for them. Don't worry about them. You focus on keeping my word. And that's all you got to do. I'll take care of the rest. Right? God says, vengeance is mine, right? Not sure if that applies or not here, but I guess I just felt like saying that. Verse 8, cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. Well, I think I read that. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. Guys, this is big time stuff here. Okay? Evildoers, okay, and I'm going to say ones that don't repent, because God will give everyone a chance to repent. Okay, but let's assume they don't. Evildoers, they're getting cut off. They're not going to be part of the land of the living. They're not going to be part of the kingdom. They're going down. Okay? And he keeps saying this. He keeps making a distinction for those. What's going to happen to those who live right and those who don't? For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, though thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth. I wonder who else said that. I believe the Messiah said that in the Beatitudes. And shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. And here's the part that I was talking about before. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. Okay? And especially today, all the evil that we see upon the earth, and even the things that we're not aware of that are happening behind the scenes, which is probably more evil, okay? God ain't forgetting about these guys either. In fact, there's going to be some severe punishments on that day, and also on the day of judgment. But we need to rejoice in that day, the day of the Lord, when it comes, because not only are we taken out of here, but he's going to come with vengeance. Messiah's coming with a myriad amount of angels on his white horse. The Bible says that his robe is dipped in blood. He's going to come as a conquering king. He ain't coming as a baby in a manger anymore. He means business, okay? And it's gonna be a day, guys. It's gonna be a day. Verse 14: the wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and the needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. And some of us really need to understand this. Some of us have a hard time being satisfied. Maybe because we live in North America, I don't know. But again, like I said, you're better off having nothing, or maybe mediocre possessions, than having a lot and living a wicked life. Okay? So again, Their day is coming, and we're only here for a short time, so who cares anyways? Compared to living with immortal bodies, it's a drop in the bucket, right? So again, we have to always focus on the prize. That's what Paul says. Focus on the prize. Who's the prize? Yeshua. Yeshua coming back and us getting new bodies. That's the prize. That's always been the prize, by the way. Even before Yeshua came, they knew about this stuff. Verse 17, Psalm 37:17. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. Amen for that. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. Okay? And that's what we're talking about. That's eternal life. That's the kingdom of God. That's our inheritance. And there's nothing better than that. That's why we're here, guys. That's the hope of our calling, the hope of salvation. Verse 19, they shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. I mentioned this before, but we're going to be entering a time where there's going to be some severe famines. Okay, and this stuff's been prophesied recently. When I say recently, probably the last 20, 30 years, okay? But like I said, like the verse says, holiness will keep us satisfied. Okay? Like I said before, we are entering a time that this earth has never seen. But the Bible describes a people that God is going to lift up out of this. Right? Jacob's trouble, I will save them out of it all. And he ain't talking about this pre-trib rapture business either. Okay? So put away your packing bags, because we're going to be going through this tribulation. That's why Yeshua says, and after that tribulation, then I'm going to send forth the angels across the four corners of the earth to gather. It doesn't say before, it says after. We're going to go through this, guys. Please don't get pulled in by this false doctrine, because what it's doing is it's creating false hope. And then what's going to happen is, and the reason why it's so dangerous is because when the mark of the beast comes, people are going to think, oh, you know what? This ain't the mark, because the real mark's going to come and I'm going to be raptured by the time it gets here, so I'm just going to take it. And then what? And then they're toast. They just lost their salvation. So you see how dangerous this doctrine is? If I were people, even if you believe that, be prepared for the mark to come beforehand. Okay, I'd rather be prepared for the worst and it not happening than not prepared for the worst at all. We're going to get to a time where people are going to, ransack homes, start shooting people for what? For a handful of rice, because of the famine. It's going to get really ugly. And, if we don't get in a place of living righteous before him, we could be a casualty in all this, just like those in the world. Okay, well, I know I keep saying this, but hey, I'm a Christian, I'm an Ephraimite, Israelite. Do you think that impresses God? Like I said, yeah, the initial receiving, the initial acknowledgement, yeah, that's great. We all need that. Okay, but if you're just going to stay there, that doesn't do nothing for him. What impresses him the most are those who do what? Who serve him in holiness and righteousness. Those are the ones he's going to focus on, getting them out of trouble. Okay? Not these, like I term, lazy believers that they receive Christ and then they grab their, they go to Walmart and pick up a lawn chair and just sit there until he comes. It doesn't work that way. Okay? The Bible says that the kingdom is taken by force. It's those who force their way into this thing called holiness. What must I do? The apostle says, what must I do to work the works of God? Okay? Even the wrong brother asked Yeshua, what must I do to enter eternal life? He says, keep the commandments. Right? Pretty simple, right? So, but like I said, no, it's not easy to to subdue your flesh and live a holy life. No, that's why it's an everyday process. But like I said, you and I are more than capable of fulfilling what God has for us. We're more than capable of keeping the commandments. They're not burdensome. Okay? But however, the sin has to come out though. God not only, God demands it from us. There's no if, buts, or ands on the whole matter. He demands that we walk in this type of lifestyle. Okay? He can't save us out of this mess that we're going to get into ourselves into by way of what the Antichrist is going to implement in the world. He ain't going to deliver us out of that unless we walk in this holiness business. He just can't. And if he does, he's going to have to go back and apologize to those guys all back there that, like I said, he is consistent. He's never changed. Psalm 37:20. Continue reading here. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume. Into smoke shall they consume away. And, if somebody does a little study on the sacrifices in Leviticus there, a lot of the fat was consumed up, right? It was a sweet aroma unto him. And he likens this unto that. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. Again, this whole cut off business. Okay, the day of the wicked is going to come, and it's not going to be pretty. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. This is one of the verses that I like to quote a lot because it has to do with guidance. And Lord knows that we need guidance every day from him, right? But a good man is a holy man. Okay, and that's why his steps are ordered by him. Again, these are promises of God. Okay, why? Because he's going to guide us. Don't you want God to guide you? Don't you want his angels a couple steps ahead of you? You want some of those angels a couple steps behind you for guidance, for protection. Okay, who doesn't want these benefits? Verse 24, though he fall, he shall not utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Okay, and we can read a similar type of promises in Psalm 91 when it talks about him protecting us. He won't let our foot slip. Okay, all these promises go together, but they all have to do with what? Him looking after the righteous. Verse 25, I have been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Okay, so what's David saying here? Guys, it's a done deal. It's a shoo-in. You can take it to the bank, like I said before. But not only is it going to benefit you, but also says your seed, your kids. Your kids will be taken care of, even after you perish. Okay? So, again, like these have long-term ramifications. Not only for eternity, which is great, can't wait for that, but also on the earth too. Verse 26, he is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. Again, it's like playing a broken record here. He's saying the same thing different ways, and I love it. His saints are preserved forever. Isn't it worth living a holy life before him? Again, we see all these benefits of those who do, and of course, the other side of the sword of those who don't. Verse 29, the righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. Amen for that. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. Okay, so we have to go over the scriptures and just get it in our minds. Okay, so it can get in your heart. Again, he's talking about the law of God, the eternal law, it says at one point, which means that it wasn't done away with like some of the church leaders have suggested. Okay, we need to do our own studies on this, guys. We need to figure this out because this is going to play an important role, especially in these last days. God wants us to wake up and get out of our slumber and put away these filthy, godless doctrines that we've been brought up on. Verse 32, the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. That's going to be someday, guys. It'll be somber to see that. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. And that's what we want here. No matter what's going on all around us, we're going to have that something that the world cannot buy, let alone dream of, is this thing called peace. You know, the Bible says that it surpasses all understanding. And that's probably one of the greatest things that we're going to need to have, especially in these last days when the caca is going to hit the fan, like everyone knows it is. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. Again, broken record. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble. Okay, so again, because we're entering this time of trouble that this earth has never seen, okay, the only way to escape this is going to be what? To walk in holiness. And yes, there'll be some of us that'll be martyred. Okay, the apostles were martyred. And, you know, I believe that the scriptures talk about how there's a special place for them. Okay, it's something special to die for him. And we need to understand that. And if any of us ever have that opportunity, I'm sure none of us in the flesh want to be martyred, but it is a pleasure, probably the greatest death you can die is to be martyred for him. And that's probably a different topic, but if that ever happens, we need to embrace that. And I know it's easier said than done. Pray God gives us the strength to go through that and to not fail in that time of testing. But it's not going to be enough to have Jesus in your heart. Okay, I'm not talking about salvation. I'm talking about the end, the time of the end here. It ain't going to be enough for those that speak in tongues. It's going to have to take the full counsel of God. Okay, and that means going back to the beginning of the book and seeing what you have to do to please him. Verse 40, and we'll wrap this up here. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them, because they trust in him. Okay, how does he know that we trust in him? Because we walk in holiness. Okay, please grab onto that. That's what he's looking for. Holiness is not just a futile act just to try to be cute in front of people. Okay, we can fool others. I know I said last time about, you know, the holiness movement where they were focused so much on how they dressed. Okay, yet their insides were full of dead bones. Why? Because that's what God's focused on. What's in your heart? Because what's in your heart is going to determine everything else. It'll determine how you dress. It'll determine how you speak, how you act, how you live your life for him. That's why. It starts there. You can't fool God with that. Okay? Because what? The scriptures say out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That's where it all starts. And because that's where it all starts, that's where we have to start to getting the sins out, because they begin there. So we're going to conclude this teaching here for this day anyways. We're going to continue on next week. So have a great week, and shalom.